Hey everybody, this is Steve X and I'm bringing you my gamer's review of 2013 release of Man of Steel, the latest in the Superman franchise. This is directed by Zack Snyder, who you might know from small movies such as 300, Watchmen, and Sucker Punch, and produced by Christopher Nolan, which you might know from some small movies like The Dark Knight trilogy. Now, what you might not know is this is written by Chris Nolan and also David Goyer. Now, some of you gamers out there who are hardcore might know David Goyer also wrote the Call of Duty Black Ops 1 and 2 campaign stories as well as the Dark Knight trilogy. So this guy definitely has some writing chops that you are all familiar with. So now let's go ahead and get started. Let's first of all take a look at the history of Superman for some of you who may not know. It began as a comic for DC Comics in 1938, went on to spawn the TV show in 1952, and then was later adapted to film with Christopher Reeve playing Superman in 1978, which had 4 movies. There was then a 2006 reboot of it, which didn't really get any traction at all, because let's just face it, the movie was pretty lame. It had very weak premise, and no one really even cared. It took a long time for someone to try to remake it because Christopher Reeve, the star of the 4 Superman movies that started in '78, had a debilitating accident, left him as a quadriplegic, and out of sheer love and respect for Christopher Reeve and his rendition of Superman, no actor really wanted to touch the role out of respect for Christopher Reeve. Well, now it's enough time has passed, I guess we can say, and it's time to redo it. The 2006 movie notwithstanding, what we now have is a new movie with Zack Snyder at the helm. So what are we going to see in this movie? First of all, you're going to see the story of Superman. Where did he come from? What was going on in Krypton? What was going on with his people? And why did they feel the need to send him away? So you see all that. You find out who General Zod is, who is the main villain in this movie, and who he is, what his motivations are, and why he is doing what it is he is doing. You then see Superman basically as a child growing up in the Midwest in Kansas, not knowing who he is. Why does he have these powers? Why is he different? And it is not easy for him. He has powers he doesn't understand, he can't control. He's seen as a freak and he feels like it. He does not feel like he belongs, and he spends his life searching for answers as to who he is. But he is also loved by his parents, who are not really his parents, but they love him like he is his own child. And it's a very touching story and very well done. The parents are Diane Lane and Kevin Costner, who do a very, very good job. And if I can just say, I mean, all the acting in this movie is top notch, especially from the lead role, who is actually Harry Cavill, who is a British actor. Surprisingly, it's funny, all the new superheroes are British. Even the last Spider-Man movie was British, but you wouldn't note it. So that's what you see. And then when it starts getting into the General Zod coming in and the action ensues. Let me tell you right now, this movie has some dark parts to it. It has the love of the family for Superman and for his family. You see the hard decisions he has to make, and you feel the torment that he has to go through, being a child, not being understand, being an outcast. You see all, and you feel it all, and the hard decisions he has to make near the end. And let me tell you right now, there are no spoilers here. Okay, I do not give spoilers. That's something my brothers does, and I believe there is a special 10th layer to Dante's Hell reserved just for people who give spoilers to movies who have not seen them yet. So there you have it. So that's pretty much the synopsis of what's going on in the movie. And overall, if I have to rate the main parts of this, if we look at writing, first of all, I would have to give that at least a 9.5. This movie is phenomenally well written. The directing by Zack Snyder, again, perfect 10. I don't know how he does it. This man brings stories and presents them on a screen in a way that intrigue you, put you in awe, and shock you all at the same time. He goes showing Superman in a style that shows his childhood superimposed over his current life. So you kind of go back and forth throughout the movie, discovering more about who he was. And it's very touching, and it's moving, and it's very well done. The acting is top notch. I'd give that at least a 9.5. Very well done. Amy Adams, Kevin Costner, Henry Cavill, they all do an amazingly good job. Even Michael Shannon, who plays General Zod. Very powerful performances. You will feel everything that's going on. And then the action in this movie. What you may have seen, you see a lot of touching scenes with in the previews, touching scenes with Superman as a child growing up, and you think, oh, this is all going to be about him as a child. Well, there is a lot of that, but what you don't expect is you see the first 20 minutes or so of Planet Krypton. You're seeing who these people are, what is going on, what is their society like. You see a very big insight into who these people are. And then with the action in this movie, you will not be disappointed. Holy cow, they lay waste to cities in a battle of only epic proportions. And that is really the only word I can use to describe this movie. I left with goosebumps, and the only word I can think is epic. In every sense of the word, this movie is epic. And you owe it to yourself to see this in a theater, in a good theater with large screens. I was lucky that in my area there is an IMAX theater close by, and I was able to see it in the IMAX 3D, and it was well worth the money. So overall, I would give this movie a 10. And I do not know how any other movie is going to top this. I'm looking forward to some very big movies, like Pacific Rim is probably one of the biggest movies I'm looking forward to. And honestly, I don't know how any movie is going to top this. This movie had everything, and I'm very critical of lots of things within movies. And I can find little things that I'd say, well, they didn't really need to do this or that. But honestly, any little criticisms I have are so minor, it did not detract from the overall excitement and just, oh my God, just the oomph that this movie delivered. So basically, Man of Steel 2013, it delivers, and you owe it to yourself to go see this movie. So that's it. That's my review. This is Steve X signing off. So thanks a lot and good hunting.